Young voters could have a significant impact on who will form the next government, but how do you ensure they are informed and motivated to cast their ballots? For more on that, I want to bring in Amanda Munday. She is the Executive Director of New Majority. It's a nonpartisan organization that aims to get young and first-time voters more politically engaged, and she joins me from Stratford, Ontario today. How are you doing? Thank you.
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
So can you break down the importance of the youth vote for this upcoming election?
It's never been more important to see young people to the polls. What we know is that for the first time in decades, Gen Z and millennials are the electoral majority, which means that for many elections, baby boomers have been the electoral majority, so they can decide the outcome of the election. But that's not true this year. We saw it. Last year, Statistics Canada released data that said Gen Z and millennials are the largest demographic in this country. So young people can decide the outcome and the future of this country.
So they can decide the future and the outcome of this country, and we have seen a 25% jump in those advanced poll numbers. That could mean big voter turnout, but traditionally, younger people don't vote as much as older people, right?
That's right. So what we know between the 2019 and the 2021 federal election, the turnout for 18 to 24, the Gen Z group, declined by 7%. Now, we know that it went down for a couple reasons. The pandemic, of course, makes it difficult, and there was a lot going on. But also there was a pause on on-campus voting, which we know had returned for this election cycle. We had the vote on campus days last week. And we're certainly hoping that we'll see an increase. My personal goal is a 5% lift on that group, but I absolutely want to see the numbers over 50% for this election time.
So when you speak to students and young voters, what are some of the issues most important to them this election?
So most young people tell us the number one issue is affordability. Now, of course, they don't say affordability. We hear things like rent, housing, tuition, cost of living, groceries, and gas. Then mental health has ranked consistently second for us, climate, and then what's new for this election that we haven't heard, say, in the 2021 or the past provincial elections, is really concern around democracy, Canadian sovereignty, and just questions around what does strengthening democracy mean? How do I participate in democracy? And those are conversations we weren't having in the 2021 federal election.
And what are some of the common misconceptions you hear from young voters when getting asked about if they can vote as a student? Because it can be confusing, right? You might be living in another city, you might be living in residence in one province, but your home province is a province or two away.
That's right. So we have our work cut out for us when we're engaging young people to the polls. First of all, this is a new demographic who often hasn't voted before. So the entire experience is new to them. And then, yes, if you're a student who's out of province, studying at a school that's not your home province, lots of times we hear things like, oh, no, I'm in Ontario right now, but my home province is BC. I can't vote, which, of course, we immediately correct and say that's absolutely not true. In fact, students are the only demographic who can choose between their home riding or their school riding, which means there's more information that we want to give them in terms of looking up their polling station, where to go, when to get there, if they're going to take time off work, how they're going to get to the polls, and then also making a decision about where their ballot will count.
Your organization is defined as boots on the ground. What are some of the things you do to reach the young voters at schools or other places?
We don't use social media, believe it or not. So
really?
It's not digital tactics. Yeah. And the reason why is because for my organization, I am hyper-focused on the very unsexy political topic of turnout. And to reach an increased turnout, to reach young people, it's unengaged voters. Digital strategies, we know, Meta's blocking news links. We know that algorithms will serve you content that you are regularly engaging with. So if you're not political, if you're not looking up news links, if you're not connecting with the candidates, then it's very likely that you're not going to be served elections-related content. So what we do is face-to-face. So we pay canvassers. We also have volunteers, phone bankers, relational organizers who are where young people are. And that's campuses. Right now, as exams are ending, we're also outside coffee shops, community centers, gyms, thrift stores, places where we can pass every single person who walks by us. We ask them, Do you know that there's an election on Monday? Do you have a plan to vote? Have you voted? Are you eligible? And then in a lot of cases, if we're within walking distance of a polling station, we quite literally walk young people to the polls, and we accompany them to answer questions, provide them links to Elections Canada's website, elections.ca, and just make sure that they get to the polls.
Amanda, you just surprised me with that answer when you said that you do not use social media. That is just an old-fashioned, in real life kind of trying to get people engaged. When you ask them questions like, do you know there's an election? Do you know that you can vote? What kind of answers do you get?
So it's interesting. We've worked all kinds of elections. So we were working all of the provincials, as you know, last fall. We also had a SNAP Ontario election this year. And on average, 50% of the young people we talk to don't know an election is happening. And I have a lot of empathy for them. Again, as we just talked about, if your information is filtered through friends and family and social media algorithms, I believe that it's totally reasonable and conceivable that you wouldn't know. What we've seen from this federal election, and my canvassers are reporting daily, and it varies by province, but generally speaking, we're at about 70 to 80% awareness that an election is happening and that they voted or plan to vote. So numbers of awareness are up. It still means for me and my organization, I care about that unengaged number. I want to reach the people who really missed when the election's happening, or they don't have the dates, or they feel overwhelmed or anxious about the whole process, and any barrier in their way could be an excuse to not get there. Those are the people I want to talk to.
Amanda, before I let you go, what are some of the important things you want young voters to remember when they do go and vote on Monday?
Yeah. So what I often say when you ask me, like, why should a young person vote? I say, do it for your community and those issues that you care about, but also for yourself. What I hear over and over from young people is that they feel anxious and out of control about those big systemic issues that they feel like they have no control over. But guess what? We know, studies have shown that the best way to reduce anxiety is through action. And every eligible voter can take action on the issues you care about. So I want that for you. I want you to feel better. I want you to feel less anxious. So let's get you to the polls so you can feel like you did something about those issues that are stressing you out.
Amanda, it's been great to talk to you about this. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for having me.
Amanda Munday is the executive director of the nonpartisan organization New Majority.